It's Tuesday's edition of the MUTV Group Chat. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're fitting well. It's a full house again today after Macy's unauthorised leave yesterday. So let's welcome Wes, Ben, Danny, Maisie. Go on, Maisie, where were you?
I was sat in a car park, Hoylake Golf Course, at 9:45, waiting to come on air. But technology over in Liverpool obviously isn't as good as what it is in this side, in Manchester. So I tried logging in, couldn't log in, mate. But what I didn't do was drive like Alan Partridge all the way to Norwich for 4 hours and get away with it.
I had to, did I? What can I do? What can I do?
Let your son drive.
Oh my God, no. So I mean, well, I'm not sure. I think surely, lads, that's still going to. Does there need to be a forfeit here, lads, or not? Or is that an acceptable excuse? Technology. What do you think?
If I can't get, like Danny the other day was at Sainsbury's, he could probably get in, or wherever he was. Yeah. I tried getting in. I tried. I didn't blag it like you did. Didn't lie. I tried. You could shove it up.
Right. Okay. Well, Ben, is that acceptable or not?
I'm inclined to believe him.
Really?
He did text me to say he's trying to get in and he couldn't. So
there you go.
Next time this happens to me, Maisie, then I'll come up with that excuse of technology beat us. But you missed a good show with Coley on yesterday, and obviously quite a lot of reaction as well on social media. And also to the fact that Nemanja Matic signed a new contract as well. So just a few little comments particularly from YouTube and from Twitter. This one from Derek: Matic deserves his new contract. Even if he doesn't play regularly, the experience he has as a footballer will definitely be beneficial to young lads like Scott McTominay. This one from Gaz: his performances have been fantastic lately. A new contract is fully deserved. I'm glad he's staying with us. NASA said, it feels weird seeing Ben without shades on. Yesterday they weren't on. Today they're back. Everything's well in the world, Ben. The shades are on.
Yeah. Well, it's sunny here, so I'm not going to have them on inside. I was inside yesterday.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't have them on if you were here today, I have to tell you. This one from for a moment, I thought Shane Warne was part of this interview upon seeing Ben without those shades. Does anyone else here think like me? I can't see that. I mean, if you dyed that hair blonde, Ben, can you see? Is that reasonable or not, lads? What do you think?
It's clutching at straws a little bit. I mean, he has got bleached blonde hair.
Yeah. But that is true, but I can't really see it. But I don't know, lads. Is that
not having that?
No.
Oh, not having that. Wes, no.
There's only two things they've both got in common. Both are overweight, and both have had hair transplants.
Oh dear, nasty. This one as well. Yeah.
No, you're not.
This one, a forfeit for Maisie. Go round to Roy Keane's house with Mick McCarthy mask on. That's a forfeit for you. Lee says Maisie should have to chat Peter Schmeichel up for his forfeit, as I had to do with Wes. So maybe we'll try that later, Maisie. And this one, a forfeit for Maisie. Hit 180 on the dartboard just behind him, or just hit the ball. If he fails, he has to smash an egg on his head. He's a Middletonian. He won't back down from that challenge. What do you think, Maisie?
Clueless. I'm sure you made it up.
Well, this was the one from our friend Howard in Malibu as well. It was a regular contributor to the show during lockdown. First of all, about Harry Redknapp, his story about betting on horses before matches with Fergie was genius. Didn't get enough credit as Spurs manager for his attacking play in the Champions League when it wasn't as in vogue as it is now. Thanks to you lot for the best thing to come out of lockdown, along with the utter joy of United's performances. Going to what's maybe a limited transfer budget, I'd make the argument that given the glaring lack of recovery speed in our central defence, Koulibaly should be a more important signing than Sancho. I also wonder if Sancho might hinder Mason Greenwood's playing time on the right. What do you think? On forfeit front, I think it's singing time for Maisie, as he was hell-bent on you singing, Stuart. You're right about that, Howard. Lads, what do you think about the point he's making there about if you're thinking about key transfer activity, we should be looking at the back rather than Sancho who's always linked with United. What do you reckon, boys?
I think that we're going to have to get rid of a few at the back. We've still got Phil Jones, we've still got Smalling who's out on loan. You know, we've got Eric Bailly, Maguire. We're going to have to get rid of a few at the back if we're going to bring somebody in. And I just think, you know, if you bring in whoever we bring in's got to be better than what we have in the building. I think that's the key to it. So Sancho, you know, he's playing at a high level. He's a top player. He would improve our squad, and I think you'd need the competition going forward. So for me, I think, you know, if you're being greedy, you take the centre half and you take Sancho as well.
Yeah, Wes, would you want both?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think Danny's right. You know, we've got quite a few centre backs at the moment, and to get another one without sort of a maybe one or two leaving probably wouldn't be appropriate, because you know they can all do a good job, but you are looking for someone maybe to be that standout guy as well, and you can always improve. And even if you bring someone in better, Stu, you're improving the defence anyway, because everyone wants to get in the team. So it would be good to get 2 or 3 in the transfer window. So a centre back, I mean, like Danny said, as long as a couple maybe had to go, it would be, you know, just the way we would always do it, by bringing in fresh legs and fresh faces.
You can never have too many good players, can you, Mason and Ben? I mean, it was about, you know, Mason's playing time or whatever, but surely it's about the squad, isn't it? You can never have too many good players, can you?
Yeah, I think if you look at City's squad, they've got depth and they've got quality. Yeah, we're getting there, but as the lads have just touched on it, you know, you've got to get players out. You've got to make sure that, you know, the wages stay low. But if you can get rid of at least 2 or 3 players, maybe 4 players, you know, you're going to raise a hell of a lot of money for that. Get a big chunk off the wage bill, then you can bring in decent players. But as Danny said, you've got to make sure that the players that you bring in play the United way, want to wear the badge. It's not all about, you know, coming in for money. We've seen people do that over the last few years, just come for the money. So we've got to make sure that they are hungry to play for Manchester United more than anything.
Yeah, Ben, it's probably not a case of bringing many in, but it's got to be the right players and ones who actually do improve us.
Yeah, it has got to be the right players, and echo everything that the boys have said. Listen, when you start a season, you're obviously, as a club like Manchester United, you've got you want to be going to the latter stages of every competition. You want to be fighting out at the top of the league to be winning that. And in order to do that, you're looking at playing 55, 60 games. You look at the winning season that Peter played in. You know, you need a quality squad and you need depth in that squad. And if that means, like the boys have already said, bringing in a couple of really, really good players in order that a couple of other players can be released and allowed to continue their careers, then that is something that the management team will have to decide on.
Where are you going, Wes?
My batch is about to run out. Sorry.
I thought you did through the keyhole.
No,
what was going on there? I thought you were just showing us around your place.
No.
It's not his place, is it?
Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
Oh, good, he's back. Well, listen, our guest today is a true United legend. He's list of major honours, runs into double figures, including 5 Premier Leagues, the treble, of course, 398 appearances, some incredible memories. Let's welcome the great Peter Schmeichel to the MUTV Group Chat. Good to see you, Peter. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm fine. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Yes, Pete.
All you clever people. You know,
sure about that.
You could all manage the team quickly.
Yeah. How are you, mate? Anyway, first of all, we always ask about lockdown. How's lockdown been for you? And now that we're all coming out of it,
It's been a little bit boring. It has to be said. It was. I live in Denmark. We locked down about 3 weeks before the UK did, right. And I had quite a few things lined up in the 2 weeks following that sort of our lockdown date. So I've basically done very, very little since. We've opened up again. The problem is that the UK hasn't opened up. I think it was was it 2 days ago that the quarantine was quashed? So basically 2 days ago was the first time I actually had an opportunity to go back to the UK. So, but it's been a little bit boring, has to be said. I think we can all sort of agree on that. A world without football is a really, really boring. A world without sport is a really, really boring world. But it's been all right.
And have you kept an eye on United since Project Restart began? Because they're playing some great stuff at the moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, I second whatever everybody said about bringing in players. I think, and I said this, I'm on record saying this for a long, long time since Ollie came, that his most important job is not really to sign players, it's to get rid of players. There's a few players in the squad that we absolutely do not want there. They're not there for, as Macy say, playing for the badge. They're there to create a profile for themselves. And certain players, I was reading about one player, trying to himself a brand like Beckham, which is shocking, really. But there are players there that doesn't belong in the dressing room. And I think Ollie's done really well in kind of sifting them out of the picture, really. So we only get reminded that they're there because, in a chat like this or reading about who's in the squad. I think he's done an amazing job. I think he now needs to look at something you already touched on, defending. I think going forward, we look incredibly exciting, incredibly strong. I think one of the really sort of keys for Match's renew or getting the new contract was in the last couple of games where Pogba and Fernandes played, both of them. The work, the job that Matches can do in midfield to support those two, because you thought they couldn't play in the same team, but it looks really exciting. And of course, the front three, all of them scoring all the time. But it's conceding goals, because if you have to score 4 or 5 every game, you are going to lose games, because that's not going to happen. We see what happens across town at the moment with City. It's hit and miss. They have probably the best squad in the country, but losing to Southampton, the winning against Liverpool, it's not happening every week. That's just the nature of football. So you need to tighten up at the back. And I've got a name for you, which I watch Leicester every game.
Yeah.
And of course my son plays there, so I wouldn't like this guy to leave. But I just don't understand that we could sell Johnny Evans. I mean, he's just incredible. He plays every game now. I know he had injury problems when he was with us, but I don't think he ever really got the time to get through them. He plays every game. He's an absolutely born leader. He talks. You can hear this now. He talks and talks and talks. He directs everyone. He makes everyone around him better. And I can just see him in that centre defence at our place, and it would improve it so much.
Let me open that up to the boys, particularly the centre backs. Wes, Maisie?
Yeah, I mean, I got asked the question, who's probably the most underrated player you've ever played with? And I always say Johnny Evans. I've touched on it before. He had I'm not even going to say a long time, a 2-month period where he wasn't playing that well. That was it. I mean, everyone understands that that does happen in your career. And then, he wasn't really given another chance and sort of bombed out. But Johnny, even from a young kid, he always had, a good balance about himself. Very good defender, good in the air. And I think most of the lads were a bit gutted when he left, because we knew what such of a talent he had. And I mean, he proved that even at West Brom. He's been doing it for many, many years. And with the experience now, I just think he's got even better.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, that's all. I totally agree with Big Pete. I said it all along. It was under Van Gaal that he left, wasn't it? And I still question the fact that, you let him go. It was Johnny's probably the most natural 2-footed player I've seen for a long, long time playing centre half. Reads the game ever so well. Strong in the air, as Wes says. Just a top centre half. I was amazed that they actually let him go. As Wes said there, he had probably the worst 2 months of his career at United under Van Gaal. The next minute he's out the door, and Van Gaal ended up playing Paddy McNair, and thinking, wow, why on earth would you swap those players around, let one go, particularly our better centre half? But No, he's been fantastic for Leicester. He really has. He's stood out most games.
I think Sir Alex always looked at Johnny Evans as the next captain, the next one that's going to lead the team, and that for me is probably the most important thing about him as a player. That is that quality. That he is a born leader, and it's interesting watching football these days because you can actually hear how any team or any player communicates on the pitch. And for a lot of teams, it's very, very quiet. It doesn't have the same sort of noise on the pitch as, for instance, in my time, where everybody was talking and shouting all the time and giving directions. But you hear Johnny, you can hear him all the time. And I think you bring some of that quality into what we have at the moment. That's going to improve it so much.
You're obviously watching Leicester all the time as well, Peter. Now we are going head-to-head, I suppose, with Leicester for place in the top 4 or 5 or 3 or whatever.
No. We're going head-to-head with Chelsea.
Oh, well, are we both going to make it? Are we both going to make it?
Well, I hope so. I treated the standings after we both played at the same time. Leicester and United played at the same time the other day, and when the game was finished, we were in 4th place. Leicester were in 3rd place, and I tweeted that the standings are and said, "This I really, really would like this to be the final standings." I know this is not Leicester chat, but I think, they have an interesting team and they deserve to be up there. I think they are, because it's Leicester, they don't get the credit like Chelsea gets the credit, but they have a really interesting team, some great players. And one of the reasons that they're up there and one of the reasons they are, so successful this season is Johnny Evans. And this, I look at the goals that we are conceding, I would say that we can, with just adding a little bit of quality, I would say that we could prevent literally every one of them. It's not even, we're not conceding difficult goals. There's always some kind of a mistake. So if you look at the 2 goals that we conceded the other day, okay, it was a bit of brilliance by Stanislav, but again, we, as a defense, we don't react as quickly as we do, or we are supposed to do. And of course, I think even David De Gea would say that ball was not supposed to go in. And then the penalty, I have to say that I hate VAR. I think it's ruined the game. And that is, for me, it's totally ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it's an individual mistake that gives that goal away. And that is what we have to stop giving away. Because when we get to the final stages of a season, the final stages of a European Cup competition, and we give one of those goals away, they are going to be so costly because we are up against the best of the best. And you don't, the hardest thing in football, and we all know this, is to score goals, so we should stop giving them away. And I think that should be Ollie's priority. We look really, really good going forward. We need to stop leaking goals.
Can I just mention at the weekend, David De Gea went level with you, actually. 398 appearances.
Wow.
And all being well, on next Monday against Southampton, that'll be 400. How big an achievement is that? 9 years at the club to essentially be number 1 in that time. You obviously know what that was like.
No, he's been tremendous for us. There's no doubt about that, and he stuck it through in the most difficult period of modern day Manchester United history. In a period where we're not winning anything, we've had managers that we shouldn't have had at the club. It's been up and down. It was very inconsistent. He stuck with it, and basically he's been our best player. There's no doubt about that. He's been our best player. I think it's 4 consecutive years of being Player of the Year. Is that right? I think
it was 4 out of 5. Yeah.
Was it 4 out of 5? Yeah. So that just tells us its own story about his performances for the club. The thing about David now, it's easy to blame the goalkeeper, and I'm not going to go down. I know Maisie will say, goalkeepers union and all that now, but I'm not going to go down. I'm trying to make a case that any goalkeeper needs to be protected, and there's no doubt about the way that the team is playing now, as opposed to the way the team played again with Mourinho, for instance. When a team plays more defensively, the kind of chances that you concede fits into David's sort of best skills. You know, those kind of saves that we've seen came from chances created being defensive. But at the moment, we are attacking all the time, and that means that you leave sort of strikers man to man. A lot of it's coming like counter attacks, or it's not settled defense. And we see this. These are the kind of goals that we're conceding now. When we played back in the day, we obviously tried to be in control of the ball. We tried to attack all the time. And the way that we developed our defense, we went, you know this, Maisie, and Wes as well, man-to-man at the back, having the ball. We could deal with that because we had sort of like our skill sets fit in to being able to play like that. I could be out behind, not all the way up behind, but very close to the last defenders. And if anything went past him, I could deal with that. And that's not the way that David's been playing. He's been playing behind a solid defense. And I think he needs a little bit of time to adjust to the way that we're playing. And if you are a goalkeeper that's been busy for like 3-4 years in every game, and now suddenly you're not busy, you know, you have to change your game a little bit. You have to find new ways of keeping your concentration, of staying with the game. So everyone has to adjust, and I think with him that goes for him as well.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Dean Henderson's on loan at Sheffield United. How close is he pushing David De Gea? Like, how far behind him is he, or if at all?
Now, you know, I'm really unhappy with this debate about Dean Henderson. He's played less than a season at Sheffield United. They've had a season coming, you know, from absolutely nowhere, a season of dreams in the Premier League, that is, sorry.
Yeah.
Now, to play for Sheffield United and play for Manchester United, it's two different things. It cannot be compared. The pressures are different. The attention of what you do and what you can get away with from playing for Sheffield United and not get away with playing for Manchester United. It's two different worlds. Now, I would say anyone that's going to go in after De Gea needs to be someone who is hugely experienced. We cannot have somebody that needs to be carried by the rest of the team, because as we started this debate, well, we all agree that we need to do something about the centre-half situation. So we need to be, so you cannot have a young goalkeeper who is more than anything, you know, or it's probably not him, it's probably the people behind him trying to promote him into this position. I would like this debate to be killed off straight away and then say David De Gea is our number one goalkeeper, and he's still a young lad, by the way. You know, he can play on for another 10 years. So let's just back him and let's just keep that bit of it stable. We've seen this before. We've seen it with other, you know, young English goalkeepers that the media picks on and think, hey, we've got the next Gordon Banks, we've got the... And it could be, I don't know, but he needs to play a lot more first-team football in order to be pushing David De Gea in any way. And I think we should, even as, you know, former players and pundits and talking about the game, we should support what we have, because we know that what we have is really good.
I was more, in fairness, I was more talking about the breakdown of him as a goalkeeper, you know, his skill sets and that kind of thing, as opposed to him pushing, that's all.
Yeah, but you know, again, I would say the same thing. It's two different things, playing for Sheffield United and playing for Manchester United. My sort of basic philosophy about goalkeeping is that it's impossible to say who the best in the world is, because you have to look at the team that they play in and the style of play that and I always use the two Manchester goalkeepers as an example. So in all fairness, up until like just 6 months ago, we did play in two different ways. So Man City played in one way and we played in another way. So Man City kept the ball. They needed their goalkeeper to be far out the box. Anything that came over the top, he would have to deal with that. And also he needed to be someone who could build up the game, even outside the box. They could use him as a station on the way in the build-up. If you swap them over, the way we played, especially the way that we played under Mourinho, can you see that Edison could be a good goalkeeper for us? I can't see it. He's not that kind of. I mean, he's a different kind of a goalkeeper. And David couldn't play the game that Edison was playing. I think he has to sort of add that to it, and he will get there. But I really do believe that a goalkeeper needs to fit the style of play that the team is playing in. So, for instance, for me, I hated being under pressure. I honestly could not. If we were playing against teams, and it didn't happen very often, thank God for that, but that was keeping us in our own box, that was the worst situation for me. It was definitely not my forte. It wasn't my skill set. But I love when we attacked, and if I was dealing with whatever was breaking out, and I loved dealing with counter attacks. I had good defenders in front of me who knew what I was good at, pushing them into situations where that my skill set was good, and all that was brilliant for me. But I could not have played in the last sort of the 4 or 5 years where we were under pressure a lot. I wouldn't have been a great goalkeeper in that. I don't think so. I just didn't like that. So I really believe in the goalkeeper needs to fit the style of play. And I have to be honest, I don't know not enough about Dean Henderson to say if he fits into the way that we're starting to play now.
Ben, do you want to fire a question?
Yeah, Pete, obviously you were a constant throughout the 90s, and in that time, you started off with a midfield of Ince and Robson, and then by the time you got to the Champions League final, it was Butt and Beckham playing in the middle, because obviously Roy Keane and Scholesy were both suspended. What did you see with the similarities in the transition of those teams, looking at it from where you could see it from?
Well, when I first arrived, we were struggling a little bit. I arrived into a club that hadn't won the championship. At the time, we had Neil Webb, we had Robbo, we had Ince was there, we had Phil, Mike Phelan was there, he could fit into midfield. We had Darren Ferguson as well. Darren Ferguson was midfield my debut for United. You were there yourself. We didn't have this powerful midfield that when you take it all the way to obviously the game before the Champions League final in '99, we had Scholes and Keane, which they were two powerhouses, right? I mean, when people think about Scholes, okay, he wasn't a great tackler, to be fair. But they think about him passing the ball and scoring the goals. But he was a powerhouse. He was running box to box. And so was Keane. And when you have two guys who could cover, only two guys that can cover that amount of ground, you can then have players focusing solely on creating and gambling on going forward, and not knowing that if it breaks down from here, you can't get back. Stuff like that. And I think that was the most important thing that we have. If you look at Ince, for instance, Ince was very defensive. He only in the last sort of 10 minutes of every game did he go into the opponent's box. But Ince would always sit back. And if you don't have midfield players breaking through or going into the box, you won't create as many chances as you do when they come in. So I think with that, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a better partnership in midfield than Scholes and Keane. Never. I don't think I've seen anyone who could dominate the way they did. Not only in breaking down play or protecting the defense, but actually creating the game as well. And then you can have the Giggses of this world, just taking risks all the time because they knew that they were covered behind. I would say Scholesy and Keane are probably the two most clever midfield players I've ever seen.
Did you used to shout at David Main-Wes Brown in front of you?
Sorry?
All the time.
Did you used to shout at Maisie and Wes Brown?
That's one of my questions, Stu. Who do you shout at now, Smite?
No, I stopped. Yeah, the shouting retired with me, retiring from football.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, well, I kept you guys at it, by the way. Can you imagine if it'd been quiet? It would have been boring.
Mike,
did you go on?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Have you scored 12 goals?
Yes. How many have you scored?
Not that many, I can tell you that.
No, but the thing is, when I played in Denmark, I had 2 seasons where I was taking penalties. So I scored penalties. So I've only scored, I've scored 2 goals from open play as a professional, and then 1 goal as an amateur from open play.
I'll take that. If you're taking pens, I've scored more than you then. So I'm all right now.
What do you mean? Oh, no, hold on. When did you ever take a penalty?
No, I didn't. But if
there you go.
I'll take that. I thought you actually scored 12 goals. Getting in there, maybe a Cruyff. Boom. Top bin.
No. I don't know if you remember, I scored a really good goal at Wimbledon in a cup game.
Overhead kick, wasn't it?
Overhead kick.
Yeah.
And it was one of them, you know, as soon as you hit the ball, you know it's going in. And the way that I was doing it was that when I landed, my eyesight was straight up to the linesman. So I saw the flag before I saw the ball in the back of the net. Very disappointing.
Next up, Peter, for United is Villa. And you scored for Villa, didn't you?
I scored for Villa against Everton, yeah. Mind you, we were 3-1 down. So it didn't really help a lot. Yeah.
When you look back, by the way, at Villa, what was it like for you to come back to England, and what was it like at Villa?
Oh, Villa wasn't too bad, to be honest. I really enjoyed being in Aston Villa up until John Gregory left. It was there's no substitute for United, absolutely not. And it was one of them. We were kind of thinking about is this a club that's going to be competing against Man United? But we thought, well, they've got a good team. It's probably going to be top 6, so it was all right. But it was horrible playing against United. We had 2 games at Villa Park. One was cup game, and then one at Old Trafford. I tell you what, the one at Old Trafford, it was painful. It was. It's one of them. You don't feel that you're in the right place. You just feel miserable. I think we lost 3-0 as well. That doesn't help.
You've always been miserable.
That's only around you, mate. No, it wasn't great. Of course, it's many years ago, and the older you get, the more you start to think about what did you make the right choices? Did you make the right decisions? Should I have left in the first place? Was it the right thing to come back to the Premier League? Should I maybe have gone back to the Championship? Like, for instance, like what Rooney's done now, gone with Derby. But I had a couple of years in Portugal. One was very, very good, and the other one was very, very bad, and it killed my enthusiasm for staying there and football as a whole. But I also felt that I wasn't ready to leave football. I was a bit too young, I felt. And I didn't really, honestly, I didn't want to go anywhere else in England. I just felt that I belonged in England. So, and that was my choice at the time. And of course, what happened at Villa, I don't know if people know that, but John Gregory left his job because he was not allowed to sign any players in January. And Graham Taylor took over. And Graham Taylor literally just got rid of all the experienced players in 4 weeks? 5 players left in 4 weeks. Dean Dublin, Paul Merson, myself, David Ginola. Who was the last one? I can't remember. But just got rid of us. And that for sure wasn't the ending that I wanted. So, but it was weird. I really weird. Going back to Old Trafford, I really hated that. And when I went back with City, sorry to swear, but that was not great. That was not great.
Listen, also Pete. Listen, all the ex-players we've had on, we get them to pick a six-a-side team from the players that they played with at United. If you had to pick a six-a-side team with the players that you played with, you can be in it.
Thanks for the warning, by the way.
You could be in it. Oh, well, who would you go with?
I've got to look because I've been asked this before.
We could have a fly goalkeeper. We don't have to have a goalkeeper.
He was all right, mate.
Am I in it or what?
Well, you can be in it. It's up to you.
Short team.
Players you played with.
Players I play with. Oh, Christ.
Yes.
Oh, my God. You should have told me that before so I could have thought.
Not rocket science.
It's not. Giggs is definitely in.
Yeah.
Scholes is in.
Yeah.
Keane is in. I have to put Yab in there. That means I don't have to put any other defenders in. What about Yab in the 20th anniversary game?
Yeah, no, brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh my God, I'm on the spot here.
That's 4. So we need 2 more. You can be in it.
No, I don't need to be in it because I got Yab.
Need a centre forward. 2 centre forwards. Eric,
yeah, of course. I'm in between. I'm always in between Yorkie and Cole. I'm always in between which one, because Eric always goes in.
it's not life and death, this Pete, you know, just let you know.
I know, but I'm thinking I want a good team. I think I'll go for Cole.
Right.
So Eric and
Cole.
How is that for a team?
Not bad. We'll take it.
Not bad.
I don't want to embarrass these two, but who were the 2 best centre backs to play behind? Or in front of? No, behind. Sam, obviously.
Well, I only played with Yap for 1 year.
Right.
And Yap was crazy good. Just crazy good. He was just this. I really enjoyed playing with Brucey and Pallister.
Right.
Because they helped me so much in the beginning when I first arrived, and the cleverness of the 2 of them spotting what I could do, and the understanding we got very, very quickly was that helped me a lot in the beginning, and then of course it became a really good sort of triangle. But it's a difficult one. I can honestly say that I never not liked playing with anyone centre half, and that includes the 2 guys here. But at times we had to draw in a certain right back to play centre half. And let me put it this way: he was a much better right back. Did I say right back? Yeah, right back. No, the only time I didn't enjoy playing with when we were scrambling. And remember that I think it was 95, season 90, we were scrambling a little bit with the centre halves injuries. So we had Keane playing centre half. Did Phil play?
William Prunier.
Oh my God. Remember? Was that 95?
94, I think.
Wow. Oh my God. I remember the game at Spurs. So I had a calf injury, and I was touch and go to play, and I'm with Dave Fever on the treatment table, and the manager comes in and says, "You are playing," and I'm saying, "I'm not sure." No, you are playing because we've got this new centre half playing. So I played the first half, And there's a goal. I remember the goals. That's a goal that I probably should have saved. I could have saved had I been fit, or maybe come for the cross. I can't remember. And he absolutely hammered me at halftime, and I had to come off because I couldn't play. Remember that game?
4-1. Was it 4-1?
4-1, yeah.
4-1.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't think you were there then. I think it was Pally, Ronnie, Henning were all injured.
Yeah. What year? What 95? What year was it? 94, 95?
94, 95, I think.
Maisie, was it New Year's Day?
Yeah.
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 Was it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Oh my God, we've had some New Year's days, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a
Gazza's
whole nother
50th.
podcast.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, Pete, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
It's been great to see you. Thanks so much.
It's been great to
for
see
spending
all
time
you
with us.
guys as well.
All
See you
the
Really
guys.
appreciate it.
Take care, pal.
All the very best.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. If you want to get in touch with us, mutv@manunited.co.uk, mutv@manunited.co.uk. I think we're back on Friday. I think it's the Europa League draw on Friday as well. So we'll see you Friday, lads. Take care. See you soon.
Take care.
Guys,
See you, Bob.
Peace.
See you, guys.